It's almost like Thanos snapped his fingers and reality has been restored. The double champ, the two-time double champ, history making. Nobody's ever done it in the UFC to be a two-time double champ. Amanda Nunes, in all honesty, the way that she was riding the shoulders of her teammates, exiting the arena when she says, "Hey, right now, if you're a real fan, you're gonna come bring me a beer right now. I want a beer when I'm walking out of the cage," right? To see her do that, I was like, and even the commentators were saying it. It's almost like you'd be okay with her walking away from the sport right now because of how much she's accomplished, because of what she's done. But it almost, at the same time, felt like this night wasn't even about Amanda Nunes. Even though she won, she restored reality. Julianna Peña, man, was kind of the star of the show, AJ. So let's talk about that before we talk about how dominant of a performance Nunes had, because that was crazy. 50-44, 50-43, 50-45, right? Julianna Peña, from here on out, stock has risen, right? Popularity has increased. I think that now she's going to be considered way more formidable than she ever was prior to the Amanda Nunes kind of rivalry right there. Where did Julianna Peña go in her career in the bantamweight division, man? Does she stick around at 135? Does she drop down to 125? Where are we going here?
Man, I think either way, wherever she decides to go, 30, stay at 35, drop down to 25. Either way, I think she's going to be heralded as one of the bad girls in the division. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's going to be a force to reckon with, and not many. I mean, besides Shevchenko, let's say Amanda Nunes does walk off into the sunset, which if she does, I mean, one of the best times to do it. You're in control of your own future. But other than that, I mean, other than the bullet, I mean, Julianna Peña is right there as one of the hardest hitting, roughest outings you could possibly have in the division. Whether, like I said, whether she wants to go to 25 or 35, I think she's going to be that person that everyone thinks like, damn, like, okay, it's going to be a tough fight. Even if I put it to her, it's still going to be a very extremely tough fight. I think it's, I think she stays at 135, especially if the GOAT leaves. But either way, I think that's kind of the best situation for her career right there, is to have that status of that girl, that one that's doing it. What do you think?
I think now she can be a perennial gatekeeper for sure, man. Because we know as long as Amanda Nunes is the champion of that division, Julianna Peña is not going to be able to get her hands back on that. I think Nunes really did prove a point, man. She said, "I can go all 5 rounds with you. I can beat you at your own game. I'll take you down multiple times. I'll out wrestle you." She said she had better jiu-jitsu, man. But like we were saying off air, man, I was screaming at the TV like, get out of her guard. Stop, man, because Peña's throwing up triangles. Peña's throwing up arm bars. There was a couple times where she had that like half-assed omoplata attempts right there. And it was just crazy to me because it felt like Nunes realized the danger and still didn't do anything to really alleviate herself, or she felt safe enough to be able to just kind of continue in the guard of a Julianna Peña, which if that's the case, that's even more impressive. But I guess the big takeaway, I think, from this rivalry here is that Julianna Peña has proven once again, because Amanda Nunes was dominant for so long, that she is human and she has holes and she is beatable. And I think the way to beat Amanda Nunes that we've seen for Julianna Peña, because we started to see it come that round 3, 4, 5 in those championship rounds, if Nunes wasn't grappling, I think if she would have kept it on the feet, we could have seen another upset. And the reason why is because Peña, with the nonstop pace that she was putting on Nunes dropped her how many times? Literally, eyes rolled back over her head, came back like a cyborg, man, like a zombie, just kept stomping forward. I think that's the thing that kind of deliberates, or not deliberates, I don't know the correct word, but for Amanda Nunes, I don't think she likes that, man. When she's getting put on the back foot, she's like, why are you not going away? Like I said, you bully the bully, you get some good results oftentimes. So are we going to start seeing more fighters take this approach, or is Julianna Peña this special specimen that can specifically do that? Because look at Amanda Nunes beat up Cyborg bad. When she hit Megan Anderson, it's almost like she just saw a ghost and was like, oh my God, I don't even want to be here anymore, right? And we're talking about 45ers. This is a 35er, former 25er. So talk to me, brother. What do you think?
It's an interesting thing because I like the idea. Don't get me wrong. You can stand in there toe to toe. Nothing worse than giving somebody your best shot, your full power. You're unloading the hips, turning, everything's correct. You crack them a solid one, and they're just standing there looking at you. It's a very frustrating thing for a fighter, especially a striker that knows they have power. That, like you said, has beat the Kat Zingannous, the Cyborgs, the Ronda Rouseys, the Holly Holmes, all these people. And to stand there and somebody just take your best crack, it's a little mentally draining. But now, like on the other side of the coin, how do you train for that? Like how do you have a girl to go in there, just an indomitable spirit, indomitable will, iron chin, eating whatever comes her way? Even if she gets dropped, she still stays mentally, cognitively focused and is able to work her game after that, whether it's on the ground or whether it's, rolling around, whatever the case may be. I just don't see a way to actually train that. Besides, you got to have that dog in you, and I think that's what Juliana Peña had, is just an absolute dog mentality.
Yeah.
Do you see a way to train it? Because I think, like, on paper, it sounds great. You bully the bully, beat her up, take the big shots, come back with your own, and on the feet, if you can avoid that big lead right hand that kept catching Pena,
Yeah.
you're under, you're blocking, and you kind of stop it. You get caught a couple times with it. Let Amanda Nunes kind of feel safe, but then start blocking it, start dipping under, start ripping to the body. It sounds great on paper. I just think in execution, very, very difficult.
You're right. Not everybody has an iron chin like Juliana Peña who could just take those shots time and time and time again, man. There's something about her. She just has this will to win. And even though she didn't win, she didn't quit. And that's the biggest takeaway. Like I said, it's the Rocky story, man. Literally the Rocky story. But I'll say this, man. You're right. Easier said than done. But let's look at some numbers to kind of understand how this fight really took place, man. Even though this was 50-45, 50-44, 50-43, right? Julianna Peña did technically outstrike Amanda Nunes and outthrew Amanda Nunes, right? In terms of significant strikes, no. But she did, she was busy, right? She did get taken down 6 times, which is pretty incredible. No takedown attempts of her own, which is kind of interesting right there, right? Because you would think that would be a major path to victory. This is the big key right here. Almost 12 minutes of control time for Amanda Nunes. That was it right there. But I did feel like, AJ, I did honestly feel that Nunes needed to hold on for dear life at a few of those points because Julianna Peña, like you said, nonstop submission attempts all day long. And even though they only credit her with one submission attempt, bro, she was throwing up a million different submission attempts. Like, let's be honest here. Were we watching the same thing, right? So, listen, Amanda Nunes, she cashed in on that plus 325 decision prop, man. She cashed in, and I mean, it's kind of a beautiful thing. But if we take a look at her methodology, man, this is what? She has 13 knockouts, 4 submissions, right? So that's 17. So the 5th decision of her career, man. And this is what? 1, 2, 3rd decision victory in a title bout in her last 5 fights. Which is like, it goes to show, man, that Nunes doesn't need to live or die by the KO, man. She can get the job done when it comes down to simply just outpointing you, being a champion, doing what champions do. Miley, I guess my final question to you here, in regard to this main event, to this bout, do we ever see these two match up in the octagon again? You know what I mean? Like, does Julianna Peña somehow, some way make her way where she's like, I'll challenge you at 145? There's nobody in that division. She was talking all that mess just at the press conference. Does she challenge her at 145? Does, you know what I mean? She somehow work her way up and be like the Max Holloway of the bantamweight division, where she's like, I'm just not going to go away. I mean, what do you think?
I think we are going to see her again, man. I think we are going to see the title challenge again. I mean, you almost need to because of the rubber match, but at the same point, you don't really want to put her in there again. You don't want to stall up the division. You don't want to hold everything up. But to that point, who else is there? Who else is going to be the one clamoring for that position? Julianna Peña, I don't see her going up to 45. But hey, crazier things have happened. So I do think we're going to see these two fight, but at this exact moment, I don't really see it in the near future, if you will. Like, we're not clamoring for Peña Nunes 3 at the moment, but I think with a couple wins, we have that Max Holloway status that Peña is just dropping people left and right. She becomes undeniable, and the GOAT doesn't leave. Then there's a lot of ifs right there. But if all those do line up, man, I do think we see Peña Nunes 3.
Absolutely, man. And I think this is kind of the I don't know, man. I could be out of line here, and I don't want to say anything crazy. It's not like crazy, don't get me wrong. Is Julianna Peña Amanda Nunes's Matt Serra? You know what I mean? Like, is she the Matt Serra for Amanda Nunes that served for GSP? Because, listen, like, Peña, she's the one and done for the champ. And we always talk about you never want to be the one and done champ. She had her time. Nunes restored order to the world. But is she the Matt Serra for Amanda Nunes?
It's really lining up like that, isn't it? It really is, man. I mean, not the worst to be compared to the H-bomb, but still, yeah, I can see the correlation for sure.
Yeah, definitely not Dan Henderson, but Matt Serra, not the
Oh,
H-bomb.
Matt Serra, excuse me. Yep.
But no, it's okay, brother. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, man, I think it's lining up to be that way. And Matt Serra has his place in history. Literally, he has his place in history. So, I mean, huge win by Amanda Nunes, but she showed that she is the lioness, man. She truly did back up her word. She says, I didn't get her on the first time, but I'm just going to be a little more strategic, and I'm going to fuck her up the second time, and she did.